Hot button.
Let me ask you guys, what would you do if you had your very own tropical island? Eh?
Sell it.
You took my bit.
Sell it?
That was
There's no
literally my
point to
joke.
owning a tropical island
You're right.
because like people are like, I'm gonna live like I live in Hawaii, and they're like, well, no, that's a resort with like oppressed people serving you hand or foot. Like,
Dude, no. If I had a tropical island, big throne made of the bones of all my enemies, and I'm just sitting on top of it, and there's like a dozen
you
naked girls sitting around me, huge tits and collars, and they're all chained to the bone
Would you
throne.
transport your enemies there to kill them or their bones?
No, don't worry about how we got the bones. That's not important. And then I'm just sitting there, and I say things like, "Yep," and then like, that's it. I don't know much else to do.
Well, as Austin
Ooh,
said,
I'd start as Park like the one from the Scooby-Doo movie, where it's
You
like,
went there and
are
not
their
Jurassic
monsters
Park.
real or not? And then they were.
talk about Zombie Island.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I ruined the second Scooby-Doo
That's
movie.
the first movie, and it's incredible.
That's the second
No,
one. with
Scooby-Doo and Zombie
Scrappy-Doo.
Island is the first movie. Oh, you're talking about the live-action James Gunn one.
Yes.
I went older than you. All right, I was talking about the '90s. That's my Scooby-Doo.
yeah, I didn't see that movie either.
I didn't say it was
'Cause I
my
was not a kid.
Scooby-Doo.
I saw the first one of those. I think.
If I had an island, I'd bury all those movies on it.
All right, well, that's enough of island talk because Austin was right. You should probably just sell it. Because today we're going to learn why that's a stupid fucking prize that only a moron would try and give away. So, I am Randall Beechers, and I am once again here with Austin Blakesley and Chris Anantuano.
I'm gonna go with the Austin intro.
And this is Hot Button. Today we're going to finish up our discussion on shady video game contests. Really close the book on this.
Part 3.
And the kerfuffles, I like that word, around their inevitable fallings apart. If you haven't yet, I do encourage you to check out parts 1 and 2, where we talk about the $1 million game of hide and seek in Advent Rising, as well as Peter Molyneux's promise to change one lucky gamer's life forever by crowning them the title of an online digital god.
Sick.
But it's time to forget about all those, all the empty rewards from those, because today we're going to talk about something way dumber. I know, which is
Somehow.
shocking. Somehow. No, today we're going to talk about Just Cause 3's Win an Island contest.
Woo!
Yeah. This is a more recent one, actually. Before we dive into this, because I don't usually ask this question early enough, either guys play Just Cause 3?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
I got a $100 GameStop gift card from an old job of mine one time. Just
Okay.
Cause was on sale for $11, so I bought it.
That's a good price for that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered it like a dumbass.
Well, if you pre-ordered it, you know what that
No,
means.
because I had it on PC, and you'll
Yeah, I will
probably
get
get to
into
the
that,
fact that
yeah.
the contest did not
anyone
work on
who-
PC because you can hack like crazy.
Yeah, or anyone smart enough to own a computer would realize that you can't get a fucking island as a prize.
I played Just Cause 1, which seemed like a kind of a fun proof of concept.
That was the first one I played.
Yeah,
It was
but I got really big into 2.
2's awesome.
2 was great, and 2 had the best demo ever, because it was just the demo of 2 was literally the whole game, but timed, right? It was just like, here's a half hour, and just like fucking go off. And I played that a lot. I actually didn't play Just Cause 3 that much, only because it came out in a pretty crowded. It came out late in the year in a pretty crowded year.
Yeah, there's something about destruction systems like that. When they score you on them, it takes the fun away.
Yeah, I could see a little bit
I'm a
of
big
that.
Red Faction Guerrilla fan, but I don't
Best
remember.
destruction game ever.
It is, but I don't remember them scoring you in the
They
campaign.
didn't score you, but
There were missions.
There were missions.
The more stuff you destroyed, the more like they lost control.
You wanted it to feel like work.
Well, no, they lost control. You gain control by destroying the structures of the
But
company.
not everything in
Vault-
Just Cause is destructible. Like, whereas literally every single thing in Red Faction Guerrilla you could blow apart.
Not every. I mean, Red Faction 1, I think, was still like had the most destruction I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But Guerrilla was every structure could be
structure,
leveled.
yeah.
Though, did some of those concepts sort of come from Mercenaries? I don't know if I think a lot of that.
no, Red Faction
real
1
life
was
Well,
mercenaries.
no. I don't mean destructible environments. I meant the whole like Saints Row did it as well, where it was like each territory was based around like how much chaos you cause takes over the territory, like how much stuff you make yours
guess
and
so.
destroy.
I don't know.
But for anyone that hasn't played it, Just Cause 3 is an open world. Well, it's the third, obviously, in a series. It's this open world action adventure game set in like a very tropical kind of climate. It's a fictional island, but it's kind of loosely based on Cuba or Puerto Rico, right? It seems to be the aesthetic or
It's
vibe.
fucking huge.
It is.
That
It's a
map is
big ass game,
gigantic, dude.
and a lot of ocean and stuff like to kind of like break the islands in it apart. I think there's like one big island, but
Yeah.
it's similar in style to GTA or Saints Row. It was developed by Avalanche Studios. They also did the Mad Max game. They're
Which
actually
I really
leading-
enjoyed.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I actually like that.
I did not play, and it's funny because Fury
I was
Road
not
is
I
like
was
my
not a
favorite
fan.
movie, and
Yeah, it was a little bit boring outside of the cars, but it was fun enough. Like, it was one of those open world games where I'm just like, I'm over the open world aspect. I wish it was a little bit more linear because
Yeah.
all the times when it was linear was like the most fun.
do you think having a desert as your open world environment is kind of that's a hard outcome?
What if they
or
gave
like
away Win a Desert Island for
a hard
Mad
thing
Max?
to overcome?
Yeah.
Give away a desert.
Get tied to a car if you win the Mad Max tournament.
They almost got me with the Mad Max game because they kept making allusions to Twisted Metal, which I was a big fan of when I was a kid.
Not really.
Get killed in an ice cream truck competition by Twisted Metal.
They're also leading development on Rage 2, which I actually think looks really good.
It does.
That game looks cool.
And
Looks
Just
fun.
Cause 4. Which
Wait,
comes
they're
out-
doing both?
Yeah, so...
They have
Um,
their minds?
So
And
Mad,
Just
Ma-
Cause 2
Mad
is this
Max,
year.
Mad Max was made by the Just Cause 2 team. The people that made
Right.
Just Cause 3 were a new team that were formed in America because Avalanche is from
Does that explain why it's not as good, maybe?
Sweden. Yeah, maybe.
I mean, 4 has you can control the weather or whatever.
They're
in it.
also
Looks fun.
They're also making that game with the duck that has the gun. What's that game
Duck
called?
game.
Howard the Duck goes wild.
Wait, duck game with a gun? What are you talking
Hold
about?
on. I gotta Google
Yeah,
this
why
because
is
I
looking
don't.
this up?
All right, while
Yeah.
he's looking this up, so
I
this
don't-
game was published by Square Enix. Everybody knows who they are. Well, I mean, this is officially like IDOS. But
Square
not
Enix, Kingdom Hearts.
I mean, it's
they
not
made that,
officially
right?
IDOS. But yeah, they made new startup, indie studio. But they're essentially kind of like the Western IDOS. But yes, it's published by Square Enix. It was officially released on Xbox One, PS4, and PC December 1st. It's kind of late in the year, 2015. Reception was mixed to positive.
Nothing kills a tropical game
Low
more
70s.
than coming out in December.
I found it.
Yeah, that's to get you in the mood.
It's called Generation Zero.
What the fuck is that?
That's the game that has the duck.
When was that announced?
He made
E3.
this up. I'm not
I watched
sure.
E3 with you. I don't.
He was just typing on his computer. I can't be convinced that he didn't just make the website.
No, they
that contains
just
this.
got in trouble because it's like a XCOM style strategy game, and apparently some Swedish
Oh, God, I think I do
some
remember
Swedish dude who designed some tabletop game that looks very similar is trying to sue them because of how similar it is.
the Swedes. Yeah. Go.
The
Also,
Swedes.
Avalanche Studios, not to be confused with Avalanche Software. The
What-
people that made Disney Infinity.
Wow.
There's two game companies named Avalanche.
Well,
and they had
I assume Avalanche Software is not around anymore.
probably not. No.
So we're here to talk about this contest though, and so the contest to win an island was revealed on August 25th, which is several months before the game came out. It was announced on this online post and through Twitter, and complete with this YouTube video, which I was gonna share a clip from this YouTube video, but it's mostly it's mostly just like it's this live action commercial with this horrible bad
I
screen.
remember
screen.
that.
Yeah, like this really bad green screen and royalty free rock music playing on it of these kids that they're young adults. I'm reading a game, whatever. They're jumping out of an airplane, and there's a dude narrating. That's
No,
just
that
you're.
that was the PUBG trailer.
No, it's the same concept though. It really is, and it's all these kids.
No, that was
who are-
Deadpool 2.
It's basically all these kids are doing flips in the air, skydiving, and shooting guns. Not at anything because they can't really show. But it's there's all these really bad clip art explosions in the background, and the contest is just talking endlessly about this. It's real dumb.
Here's
I wanted
my
to play it,
question.
but it would just sound like noise.
Here's my question: was it purposefully dumb, or are they just bad at
That's
it?
also my question. Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems like that might fit with the theme of
Maybe.
the game.
Were they
Yeah.
going for that Adult Swim aesthetic?
Maybe they might have been going for it. It felt a little too earnest, but yeah. So basically, this contest, which the first thing I'm going to start with is that you had to pre-order the day one edition of the game.
Ernest. Ernest wins an island. That's
Ernest
definitely,
wins an island.
This is where that makes sense.
So, kind of like the Advent Rising thing, there was like a little sticker on the imprinted on the box that was like,
Win an island.
Win an island.
Yeah.
First wave of this game makes you eligible. And as also mentioned before, this contest was only on Xbox One and PS4. So if you're on
Yeah,
PC,
I got fucked.
couldn't win an island, man.
Yeah.
And here are the rules,
Because of
basically.
cheat hackers.
Here's the rules of the contest. You had to register, sign into your official Square Enix members account, which I know you all have.
I have one because I bought the special edition of Life is Strange, and that was the only way to get it.
I
don't know if I
I
have
bought
one.
the special edition of Life is Strange.
No, Before the Storm. Remember the one with the came with the vinyl?
I bought that too.
Oh, that you had.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Did I play? I didn't play any of Final Fantasy 14, so I probably didn't have one.
I did.
I also did, and I played 11.
We played other Square Enix games though.
Yeah, you don't need it.
I played Tomb Raider and stuff on console.
Yeah.
And Hitman on console.
Did they make Kingdom Hearts? Was that Square Enix, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they
Did
didn't have.
Yeah, like
Yeah, you didn't
40
have to-
years ago, old
just
man. Okay. So you had to link your Xbox Live or PlayStation Network account, depending on whatever platform you're playing on, to the website. The contest was, and here's the funny thing is like, so there was a code I think in the box, just kind of like, which I guess that's how they knew that you had that version. So I don't know if you need to buy it physically. I assume digitally was. I don't know how you got the code digitally. I
I have
assume
no idea. Yeah.
Probably just email it to
probably
you. or
email
something.
to you, yeah, or probably something with your Square Enix account. But again, so
They actually tattooed your code on your arm
when you went to the
got-
store,
Yeah.
so you wouldn't forget. The contest was open to anyone in the U.S. No Puerto Rico, so
Because who's more fit to rule a tropical island than somebody not from
than
Puerto
where
Rico?
the game kind of
Yeah.
takes place. Mexico.
Let's not give them one. They already have an island.
Mexico and Chile were eligible, and so was Canada, except for I'm going to say it right this time, Quebec again.
Yeah, because fuck them.
I don't know. Maryland, though, if you lived in Maryland, you can participate in the. I don't remember which. Was that the Curiosity one?
You couldn't?
No, that was Advent Rising.
That was Advent Rising. So, no, you
Yeah.
could in this. It
Oh,
was,
yeah.
but Quebec apparently has something in their bylaws that say "fuck contests," and their entire
You know
providence
what?
is not allowed
Probably
to.
starts
You know
with,
what?
like,
participate.
Good.
Yeah, I know. Good. They're like, this is stupid, and then but the contest would last
Yeah,
for
they're too
90
busy eating
days.
baguettes.
Poutine.
Hey,
Oh,
they got baguettes.
it's like
Wait, is that a French shit?
Yeah, it's like
Yes, they're
that's why
French.
you caught me off guard. They are French, but you should have gone with cheese curds. That would
Ow.
have been a little more. So the contest lasted for 90 days, and it was essentially kind of like a competition. But the game launched on December 1st, and within that first 90 days, the person player with the most chaos points, which is kind of what we were talking about earlier with the destruction
That's
stuff.
how they scored the destruction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are all that mayhem and stuff like that, that you cause in the game, they're the ones that get kind of entered into this chance to win the grand prize of their island. Which
Because you just because you destroy stuff in the game. Like the whole point of the game is like
No.
it's almost like a terrorism simulator. I always thought because it's just like you're running around
yeah.
like blowing shit up, trying to topple a government.
here's
like
the
it's
thing
exactly
I'm
what it
I'm
is.
curious about. I don't really know how those systems are sort of like valued, but is there an in-game leaderboard that
Yes.
publicly reveals those scores?
The thing about
Complete
Just Cause,
with the username and
the
everything?
big thing about Just Cause 3 is that Just Cause 2 had the destruction thing, but it was like for the purposes of the story.
yeah,
Right.
It was
That's
like
what I remember.
You can tackle this mission by destroying everything, and that'll kill everybody, and then
Yeah.
you'll beat the mission. And then people enjoyed the destruction so much at Just Cause 3, they're like, we're just gonna score you on the destruction, so you don't have to do missions. You can just blow shit up for fun. And then they
yeah.
had like leaderboards for literally every stat they tracked in the game. So
Yeah,
it
like
wasn't
all
just
the-
chaos
Like
points.
with
It was
what
like
weapon
the
and stuff,
longest
too?
grapple, how fast you went in a car, how high you jumped in a
Oh,
car,
wow.
how you parachuted from. Like
Yeah.
Was that like Red Faction Guerrilla in the sense that once you destroyed a structure, it was gone permanently in your
No,
world?
and that's one of my favorite things.
They respawned.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna
then how
mention
does
that.
the score work? Is it a chain of what is the most
Yes.
destruction?
Yeah.
It's a Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk scoring system.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
The
The
more
more
Why
you
does it say
destroy, the higher your multiplier goes, and then
Got
depending
it.
on what you destroy,
That's
you
what's
get
so
more or less
shitty. I
points.
hated about Red Faction Guerrilla is
Wait,
like
timeout?
once you're like mostly
Yes.
way through the game, it's like you're just driving around and,
Oh, and it's just
everything is
it's
destroyed.
just a flat land. I did that too. I leveled that entire fucking planet. So like going back to that game is just like here's me driving around a wasteland and nothing.
Yeah,
left
there's
to
nothing
destroy.
left to destroy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
finally
did
showed those fuckers.
Yeah. Here's the thing though.
I won,
I
king of
actually-
pile of trash.
I actually did like that in Red Faction because it made me feel like I was actually doing something. Because if I drove back to that silo and I was like, it's fucking there again, I'd
I
destroy
mean,
it.
certain buildings like towns and bases and shit. Like it just sucks that you basically had finite content to destroy. You know,
Right.
but
Are you encouraged to destroy literally everything and
just
just
cause
Yes.
you don't even have to. It's just kind of like circumstance.
Still
like,
civilians and stuff.
It was like the red barrel cliche from
Yeah.
video games taken to the extreme.
Right, okay.
Because it was like Chris said, it wasn't Red Faction Guerrilla where you could go in with a sledgehammer and level buildings.
Yeah.
But you could like.
Yeah, tons of shit was
But
destructible.
like there was like radio towers and giant oil tanks,
tanks,
and
yeah.
Basically, you
remember
like
that.
roll into a village and there'd be a group of things you could destroy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's a monument and there's like
Right,
this
right,
and
right,
that.
right.
And I love
They had like a propaganda meter or something,
any
right, or
game with
something?
yeah.
explosives, just remote explosives and destruction
billboards.
is the best.
Yes.
They also had the grappling hook.
They did.
You
Yeah.
could grapple like a barrel to
Yeah.
a
like
tank
a helicopter
and
to a
then,
car.
My
They-
favorite thing was to do is grapple the ground, pull yourself towards it, and then you could like parachute up into the air somehow.
Oh yeah,
you can basically
no.
Spider-Man
the physics
your way
of that
around
game
the
are
map
absurd.
with like a
That's
fucking
kind of what
grappling
made
hook.
it so fun. But they put out an official press release, and I'm just going to read this as it was posted. But it says the contest will be an exercise in destruction, with participants racing to score the most chaos points by unleashing Rico Rodriguez. I like that protagonist name. Collection of guns, bombs, vehicles, and his faithful grappling hook to wreak havoc all across the in-game island of Medici?
Medici.
Okay. The more creative and inventive the
Italian?
mayhem, the more chaos points
Italian, but
players will earn with an actual island at stake for the top scoring prize.
An actual island full of acts of terrorism waiting to be committed.
Here's what's crazy. They at this point they did not mention any other reward being at stake. It was all about the island. But the location of said island was not ever revealed. It was never announced with anything else. I don't even know what countries its jurisdiction would be under. But
Well,
like,
yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah,
so
hold
the
on.
thing I found through my research of this is that apparently they didn't know. They didn't have an island in mind.
Who was-
They gave you a $50,000 coupon for a free island, and you had to fucking
Right.
find the island.
What, you had to
That's what
find the
that's
island?
what they
that's
meant.
gonna break like all the
I don't-
fine print
you
shit that I
didn't-
wrote
you
for this.
didn't- read the fine print
Okay.
because the fine print makes more sense when you realize that you have to find the island.
That's
So
fucking
yeah.
insane. Because so I have it. Square Enix, like Austin said, that price point is correct in that Square Enix said that the island would be valued at up to $50,000, and I
Dude,
don't.
we could get 50K if we tried, okay?
So,
like that,
and-
there's no way you could buy an island for fucking
the winner of the
$50,000.
contest would be selected at the end of March of 2016, 90 days after this contest. But here's where I'm gonna get into this fine print stuff a little bit. GameStop, as well as like the fan community, like dug into the because this contest was so ridiculous off the bat. Everybody was so like skeptical and
GameSpot. Sorry.
oh shit, you're
You're
right.
right, you're
Sorry, no. It is GameSpot. That's gonna happen to me forever.
I still do that all the
Yeah,
time.
and people who worked there, we listen to people who have worked for them that make that mistake still. But GameSpot put out a article, and they basically just said like, here's the biggest things we found in the fine print. Because nowhere in this fine print does it say that you have to do that dirty work, but the other stuff is just as ridiculous. Because we could spend like 20 minutes each on each one of these individual
Yeah.
like things. So the first thing they said is that all taxes and fees associated with purchasing, I guess that's where that comes in, and obtaining of island, including but not limited to attorneys' fees, escrow, and closing costs, are the responsibility of the winner. So I don't know how much that like taxes would be,
Probably a lot.
but probably
property
a whole,
tax is
I
already
can't imagine
insane, like,
people
it's
playing this game being prepared for something like that. But it basically means that like once accepted, once you owned that island, you would probably end up paying way more money than what the actual value of the island was
If
ever
you could
worth.
even find an island that would cost $50,000 to begin with, then you're.
This is according to Square Enix anyway. Like, I don't know how that value is determined because I'll get into that later as well. But it's very weird. So the second thing in the fine print said that the sponsor does not guarantee the island to be developed or reachable by any means other than a boat.
So I looked on Reddit. So the funny thing about this island, which I don't know if you're going to bring this up or not, or this contest, is that we will learn later that Square has... We're learning about the rules to this contest through GameSpot and through Reddit.
Yeah.
Because Square has scrubbed the rules
They
of
have,
this
and
concept
I did have that down.
from existence.
Yes.
So
If you
found a Reddit,
try and reach that site now, it redirects to Just Cause 4's pre-order
I
website.
found a Reddit thread that said, if I recall correctly, the winner had to find their own island under $50,000, and aside from the deed, nothing would be arranged by Square Enix.
Yeah, why would they? It's too much for them. Like, there's so much that goes involved in like purchasing land, something like that. Like,
all right, ready?
Go ahead.
Sorry,
No.
I'm gonna read the Wikipedia definition for escrow. And
Okay, I was curious.
and you tell me if anybody that played Just Cause 3 in
Would
history would
understand.
understand what this means.
I didn't know that word when I literally wrote it down.
Escrow is a contractual agreement in which a third party receives and disperses money or documents for the primary transacting parties, with the disbursement dependent on conditions agreed to by the transacting parties, or any account established by a broker or holding funds on the behalf of the broker's principal or some other person until the consummation or termination of said transaction.
Okay, so, so that was just like, okay, so picture a lawyer saying that to a kid who just like spent the last 90 days tying explosives to cows and then pinning them to pinning them to a helicopter. Like he's just fucking dead face. Yeah, like
I assume they don't provide the money for the fucking team of lawyers that you need to make this.
No, and not even reachable island, because when you say win your own fucking island, they think you're picturing like I'm gonna fly in on my biplane like Indiana Jones and land on my dirt runway, and I'm gonna get off in a bunch of like
they
naked
expect you to
local.
parachute there because it's not fucking reachable by any other method of transportation.
Well, that's what I said. It's almost like they're like. They're sitting there and they're like, I'm going to get off work after a long day. I'm going to go sit on the beach of my island. And some dude is going to bring me a mojito and I'm going to chill. And you're like, no, it's probably going to be covered in animals that want to kill you.
Yeah, they say by boat, but like by boat, like that also implies like
everything on the planet is reachable by boat.
Not exactly. I mean, like if there were, yes, but
Every
like
body of land.
there's still cliffs and stuff. Like so basically, like they hope that you have that part covered. But this is my favorite part of the guidelines here, is that they did not know or need to know if the island was even livable or fucking inhabited or not.
That's my favorite. Okay?
That's my favorite.
The inhabited one.
Yes.
I mean, because you have to buy your own island, right? But
I guess.
That means
what would you do, legally or otherwise, if you showed up to your new prized island to find people already fucking living there?
I thought of a scenario where, like, some rich dude's like, you know what? I made it. The stock market's doing well. I'm gonna buy a fucking island. And then he gets there and he buys an island and it's inhabited by people. Like, what do you think that fucking rich asshole would do?
Oh, when every other white man in history is done, spend his money to hire some other white people to kill everybody on the island.
Yeah. So say you do that, right, and then you commission your mansion to be built or whatever, your Rainbow Six Siege map. How do you get power to your own private island? How do you get plumbing?
That's your problem, not Square's.
How do you get internet?
50 grand is nothing.
That's what I mean. Totally.
This is 50 grand in 2015 money, though.
I mean, I'm not even sure. I don't know.
That translates to
I'm on a private island.
$15,000
like $50,000 and 25 cents.
Yeah. So Square Enix. The other thing, and this is most contests probably, but Square Enix. It does say in the fine print that they have the right to change or substitute any part of the grand prize. Quote, in its sole discretion.
Of course. Well, I mean,
so
dealing with
I mean, I assume to span the whole 3-part series we're doing here.
Yeah.
I assume that clause is in every fucking contest.
You're
rules.
probably right.
Yeah. They're just like, if we don't want to pay you, we don't have to. And then when you try to sue them, they're like, idiot, you signed the contract.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's the thing. Alternatively, the grand prize winner can smartly choose to take the $50,000 in cash in lieu of the island, which, given everything we've been talking about, sounds like obviously a much better choice.
And obviously,
if you live in, here's the funny thing is, like,
time.
I mentioned that contest was in Mexico. Mexico could only take the money. If you participated, if you lived in Mexico and won, you didn't even have the option of an island at all.
I know, because think about how long explaining escrow would be in Spanish. It would be even longer.
So here's the thing. I'm gonna get real nerdy here for a second, and I don't know if you're both with me on this or not, but
not on a gaming podcast.
No, I know, right? So there was
nerds allowed.
There was an episode of The Simpsons called Bart's Elephant.
Oh boy!
And I don't know if anybody remembers this. There was a radio. It was from the golden era. I'm pretty sure this was in the 90s. But there was an episode where Bart won a radio contest, and the radio contest was like a gag, kind of like picture like a Preston and Steve kind of style thing, where he won a contest, and he had the choice to either take a $10,000 cash prize or an elephant, and the elephant was like a gag prize. But he wanted the elephant, so they had no choice but to like deliver on that. And the terms of this contest are like weirdly similar, where I don't think they ever expected anybody to take the fucking island. Like, it was just a $50,000 contest, but everything, like with that commercial I mentioned earlier, they only talk about the island in that commercial. They don't talk about a $50,000 cash prize. Maybe because that doesn't seem like a lot of money compared to Advent Rising's $1 million prize, or because like an island is just that fucking stupid. Like it is.
Okay, so I'm on a private island sale website and things like this, looking at properties. Okay, there is a 26-acre island in Florida. So Florida, trash land, trash people. Okay,
they're selling.
I'm just saying, there's an island there, 26 acres, not a lot. I don't know if you know how big an acre is. $95 million. This one that's $72 million is 2,100 acres.
That's under United States jurisdiction.
Okay, yes, also, but some of these,
odds
Mexico,
are it's livable.
300 acres, 300 million.
Again, people have heard of Mexico.
Google.
What if this fucking island was like a glacier in the middle? Like that?
That's where the terms of the contest where it has to be reachable by boat come in.
And that's when you said it was everything?
You have to think about the fact that, like, they're saying that you're gonna find an island for this price that a plane today, there's not a plane today that exists that can hold enough fuel in one trip to get there. That's how far away from civilization this fucking island has to be to cost $50,000.
Exactly. You have to have a boat that has a helicopter on it already, so you can drive your boat and then helicopter to the island.
So unlike our other stories, this is kind of where this one sort of peters out a bit, unfortunately. But I did a bunch of research, and as far as I know, like, and we're going to talk about the outcome of this, basically, because as far as this is a weird one, because this, like, unlike all the other stories, there were like there were these weird like backpedalings of and like where like everybody had to course correct and make statements about fixing everything, and this was just like faded into obscurity, and it wasn't that long ago. So like, as far as I know, no cancellation of the contest was ever actually announced, nor was any winner ever revealed.
So I thought about this while I was doing research. This is what would have happened for listeners out there that listened to our Peter Molyneux episode, the last part. This is what would have happened if the Curiosity guy decided not to share the prize.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
It's just like a bunch of people on Reddit being like, who the fuck
won?
Yeah. So it is technically believable that the most chaotic player here chose to remain anonymous. But silently taking the money and just walking away.
Well, yeah, I don't get it.
Hell, they could be running their own very private island empire right now, like James Bond villain style. You know, doing what you said you were going to do.
Not for $50K.
On their throne of bones or whatever.
Hey, I never said I was going to actively be a villain.
They could have been rich beforehand. If you have a bone of thrones, you're a villain. I'm sorry. But
a throne of bones.
Throne of bones. What did I say?
Bone of thrones.
It's like sounds like a fucking Game of Thrones spinoff. Porn parody. The most boring outcome, obviously, and this is possibly the most likely here, is that it was nothing more than a publicity stunt from Square Enix to sell copies, and they just never delivered on anything. But we don't really know.
Well,
I did find some people on Reddit who had some ideas, but they're not verified. and I'll get into that. But what?
Well, I have some evidence that supports that fact.
Which one?
The fact that it just petered out and they just never canceled it, but
please.
it never got a winner.
I would love to know. Yeah.
Apparently, Just Cause 3 had 3 contests associated with it. The island wasn't
Holy
the only
shit.
one.
That's a lot of.
They partnered with Origin PC, not EA, obviously.
Okay.
But the people that make custom PCs.
Don't worry, nobody thought that.
Yeah. When we were talking about getting cases, I think I looked into them.
So they partnered with Origin PC, and they had people make trailers for Just Cause 3. I don't know how they did it. They apparently released a demo.
Did they just capture footage from their
they
consoles,
recut
or-
trailers or something like that. But it was like, make a cool trailer with some cool music in it, and then they like...
there was a
And we'll give you a movie studio.
Was one of them a wingsuit contest?
Yeah, that
I
was
saw
the other
that.
one.
Okay, sorry. No, finish explaining yours.
So the first
I didn't know
one,
about the second.
The first one was it was edit together your own trailer, and some YouTube channel won it because they edited together their own trailer, which is what they did. I looked into them. Don't remember the name.
Okay.
But it was this YouTube channel that like re-edits trailers to make them better. So they just did that to Just Cause 3, and then
that was like their job.
Yeah, and then
Right,
they ended up winning the contest. And again, Just Cause 3 scrubbed any contest related to Just Cause 3 from existence, or Square did.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So wait, the other two contests had winners though.
Yeah. Well, they announced that they won, but I never saw a page where Square Enix announced that they won.
There
and
had to
again,
be-
according to Reddit, those people later complained that they never got their computer.
Yeah, I was about to
Holy
say, there
shit.
had to be a person at the top of the leaderboard, though.
Yeah.
So it's not like there couldn't
Right.
have
So
been
you could,
a
if
winner.
theoretically, if you
Like,
booted
there
up your
are-
Xbox right now and then
And-
went to the Just Cause 3 leaderboards, you'd
That's
see.
very much could have changed
Yeah.
over the last X
Sure.
amount of years.
And the
It's
other
been
one,
3 years.
the other one was to design a skin for a wingsuit that would go in the game.
Right.
And I don't know if that ever
Is that
panned out or not.
wingsuit in the game? Yeah, we don't know.
And I don't know, because I only found it through Reddit, and people are just like, whatever happened to that? And they're like, I don't know.
Totally. Well,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to say this time. So, according to one post on Reddit about this island contest, a person claimed that their friend was actually the winner of the contest, going on to say that they shopped around, quote unquote, with representatives from Square Enix for islands via one of those private websites that you mentioned, Chris. Which eventually, I think, in his post or her post, I'm actually not sure, led to just them taking the money. But
Which
those
honestly-
apparently those websites, because they have similar websites if you want to like buy your own planes and like private jets and stuff like that. Like,
Castles. My brother's always doing that shit. Looking up
shopping for
Yeah, let's
castles.
buy some castles, man.
I'm going to Google how to buy an island.
How much? Wait, how much money is a castle? Is your brother loaded?
No. We just do it just for fun.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But like, it makes sense. I mean,
No,
obviously.
but I thought you had to be like at least rich to have a membership for that.
I mean, you can just look at any real estate website like that. Some of them are selling.
Not
things
all of
like
them
that.
though. Like
Yeah.
some of these island ones are like you're like it takes a lot to get a
Yeah,
membership.
it wouldn't even let me look unless I turned off my ad blocker. No way, buddy. No way.
So here's the funny thing: is like despite, so that post. What's funny is there was another post months prior, completely contradicting that person, saying that the whole thing was actually suspended shortly after release due to glitched and modded scores from hackers.
Now that both of them make sense, unfortunately.
Without the company ever attempting to reinstate it, like Austin said, like Square Enix never made an announcement or not. So, like
They're busy making games that'll never come out. So why would they have time to
That's true.
put their
all
announcements?
Final Fantasy VII remake parts, all whatever how many sections that's going to be divided up in.
Sidebar. I went on privateislandonline.com.
That's where I was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I sorted it from price low to high.
Okay, what's the
Cheapest island on there
Not
is an
50,000.
island off the coast of Nova Scotia, Canada. It's 1.1 acres, $22,000.
No shit.
Wow, that's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys want to like?
Phil in the background saying he could buy that island, guys.
Yo, if
just
we
so you
all,
know.
if we all collectively sold our cars, and
We could move to a 1 acre frozen wasteland. Oh my god. You probably can't. There's nothing living enough to hunt on that
I like-
island.
This is not going to do well for the audio format, but I like they have a picture.
How long it?
No, that's gonna be the fucking thumbnail. Let me see that thing.
They have a picture, and they had to put
Look at
fucking
that.
arrows in it to show you where the island is because it's so small.
Okay, so yeah. So the idea that you
great.
could find, and my favorite part about the thing is what you said, is that they never guaranteed that it would be a tropical island.
Right, which is where the game takes place. That's what would be assumed, but tropical islands are probably the most expensive.
Fucking A
Yeah,
they are.
so-
Dude, I mean, like,
Also, number 2 on this list, another island off the coast of Nova Scotia, Canada, $69,000. So, and that's
dope.
that's 12 acres. So you got one choice. if this contest has a winner in the future, they got one choice, and it's in Canada.
I was really hoping you would find one that was $51,000. You'd be like, oh, like shit.
but that doesn't count. Like the idea, like you could probably buy that for $20,000, and it's probably dealing with like the Canadian Land Grants Board or something. The taxes are probably relatively cheap, but it's like a waste of time, and
Yeah.
you'd have to pay way more.
Oh,
Like,
totally.
The
So-
idea that you're even getting close
There's
to
one-
a realistic island plus the fees that are involved
Right.
is it's absolutely
Last
insane.
one, there's one called Hangover Island in Florida. That one's $100,000.
Well,
Yo,
Hey,
did,
when
we,
they
did
said-
we discover that? What's going
Definitely already inhabited.
The one thing that we can say for certain is that and I mentioned this earlier, but that the link for the contest, which was supposed to be updated to show the winner, now just directs to Just Cause 4's official website.
You want to know what's even more interesting? When I tried to find out the winner of the wingsuit one,
Yeah.
I almost got a virus.
What?
They created a separate URL for that and then just let it lapse. So if you
Oh
click
my
on, somebody
God.
bought it out from under them and put a
Holy shit!
fucking ad website that gives you a virus on there.
That's great.
So don't go to that website.
My diagnosis here is that this whole thing was pretty much swept
yeah. Swept
under the tropical rug here.
swept underneath of an island somewhere.
Swept underneath of an
Just threw
island.
it right away.
So
They left us.
Not reachable even by boat.
that's
Yeah, they left this idea to die on an
So
island
I
somewhere.
think earlier I used the metaphor about closing the book, but like I think at this point you're like halfway through the book and then you just throw it into a fire. So like there's no
Garbage.
real summary here. But I do want to ask you guys, what did we learn from all these
I
contests?
got something.
Yes.
What did we learn? Games are hard to make.
I already knew that.
So
but
don't make the developers deal with running contests when they're trying to make their game work. Especially don't make contests that are based on the gameplay because a lot of games come in hot and they don't exactly work. So if your contest is focused on the game working 100% the day it comes out, maybe don't do that.
I did hear
And
that Just Cause
especially
3 was a little bit of a glitchy mess.
Especially don't do that if it has to do with online servers. Because as somebody who played Just Cause 3, we don't know if that's why they canceled it, but those fucking leaderboards did not work on day one.
Well, you want to know what I learned? I learned that young people like sobe water.
We're doing a
callback.
Dude, I learned that in middle school.
Yeah, I learned that being a digital god doesn't help you pick up chicks.
No, it does not.
It does not. In fact, it has the opposite effect.
I also learned that in middle school.
And I keep learning every day.
No, I actually, what I did learn, and this is legitimate, is that when given the option, always take the money.
Yeah.
Don't take the
Fucking
tropical
A.
island.
Most important
Don't-
lesson you'll ever learn in your life.
I feel like if you took,
Always take the money.
if
If
you
it's
took-
not yours, take it.
if you
If you have to have a gun and run into a convenience store, take it. Just always take the money.
Yeah. So I feel like using that $50,000 to visit an already renovated island, maybe with a nice resort, would be a lot better than living alone in some marshy wasteland, running away from killer natives or hostile wildlife or whatever the hell.
Yeah, dude.
I don't think there are
they-
killer natives in
Square
Canada.
Enix swept this under the rug.
I don't know what's going on in Nova Scotia.
What if like you
Some
get
drug
like,
cartel shit
Square
going
Enix?
on.
This is the
Just
first
a
thing I
bunch of
thought about.
bears.
Yeah, just a
Square,
bunch of bears.
Square Enix gives you an island. If you go there, it's inhabited. Now technically they're your slaves. Like
Is that how it works?
Square Enix inadvertently brought about slavery back to some tropical island
Wait,
somewhere.
see, we're joking about this now, and 20 years later, someone's going to rise up like someone who's building an empire on this tropical island.
To be fair, To go back to the beginning of the podcast, I take back everything I said. If Square offered to buy me an island and I had to go through a bunch of shit to make it happen, I'd make them go through that.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
I feel like
I think it's worth more than $50,000 to make their company.
No, you're
going to
make the Final Fantasy remake get delayed again, or like Kingdom Hearts 3 take another 4 years.
Oh, do you don't know how happy I would be if they're
that
like,
happened?
"Hey, internet, this guy wanted his island, so Final Fantasy Remake's canceled." I'd be like, "Come at me."
Yeah, I care about all the Square Enix brands I care about are coming out with games next month, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. I did want to touch back in about Action 52.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
No, you're
I
totally
kicked your
fine.
mic,
As like a
10
little
times.
closer, I wanted to like wrap this nice little bow tie on everything. But the reality is like I'm not really sure there's much else to say about that story other than that it was a scam. I looked into it a little more, and when I this is going episodes back, so I apologize. But that game was fucking. That game was $200 when it came out. Remember that game with Ooze and Cheetah Man?
Yeah.
That game was $200. One NES cart, $200. And this was years after the Super Nintendo was already out.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, they were trying to say there was $4 a game, but
$3.80.
But what does it really matter?
Who's
when
fucking
most
now?
of them don't work. It's really
Yeah,
incredible.
who's a digital god now?
Who's a digital god now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't believe it. Square would do that. Sweep it under the rug.
Yeah. It's really great.
That's embarrassing.
But thank you.
They got away with it.
They did. They did.
The
Nobody
game
looked
did well.
into it.
They're making a Just Cause 4.
Well,
It's
that
all
was-
good.
Here's what I wonder: if they did I mean,
The people responsible for the Spirits Within movie, you tell me they did that?
was that the second movie or the first
You're
movie?
telling me they deceived people?
That's the first one.
That is the first one. So they did. I wonder if this contest happened with a more. Like, that game was probably pretty popular, but like, imagine if they did it with a game that was more popular. Like, if you would just have a bunch of people on Reddit actually like.
I got a query to close this out.
Sure.
You remember how we talked about Advent Rising? There were a lot of people that bought that game
For the
just to win $1 million.
Yeah.
Do you think there was anybody that bought Just Cause 4
To win an
and like
island?
was unemployed and they're like, I'm just gonna play this all day, every day for 90 days, and I'm gonna get a fucking island, and then I'm out of my parents' house.
I really hope so.
That's the guy who the lawyer said that long speech to, and he's just like, fuck, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I thought I was just get an island. I could just be homeless
that's
on
the
it.
same dude who's just like, I fucking have been tapping away at curiosity for weeks. I want to be a digital god. But yeah, I think that's kind of the end of our Epic 3 party here. So like, I thank everybody again for sticking with us. This was originally meant to be one episode, and I got kind of carried away. And
We soon learned that knowledge is a journey.
it is.
Good way to sum
Yeah,
it
that's
up.
a good way. But we promise not every episode is going to be in this kind of format. But yeah.
We're learning, guys.
Join us next week where we have another 3-part.
we will do episodes with multiple parts, but
Yeah.
next week we'll be back with an entirely different topic. Maybe step away from all these PR stunts and nightmares. We'll try and do something a bit more uplifting and positive. I think Austin has some stuff in the pipeline that will that are maybe a little more like lead to a very more positive
happy
outcome.
ending,
yes,
if you
there's
will.
a happy
We're actually
ending.
gonna pivot to the Las Vegas shooting. I don't know. That's a little hard.
Whoa! Wait, there was another. Wait, you chose the one that's like the least tethered to video games.
That was the joke.
Oh, well, my heart goes out to. But once again, I am Randall Beatrice. You can find me on Twitter, RestartRandy. I want to thank my co-hosts as well. You can follow them at.
You can find me at Chris I something.
That gets me every time.
Yeah.
Really.
Mine's Austin Blakesley. Good luck spelling that.
Wait? So it's not Orfben?
No. Way to give my gamer tag away, dude. Oh, wait, I think I gave it away in the
I think you
first
did.
episode.
You can bleep that like Phil's email if you want. But this was Hot Button, and we're gonna have Jason kind of put this in later, but which I shouldn't have said that out loud. But that's more for you to fix in post.
We can edit that
or you
out.
can leave it in because it's funny. But allow us to play you out.
Thank you very much for all your efforts. And thank you very much to those people who didn't get to the center of curiosity. we may, who knows, start another experiment even more intriguing. Thank you very much.